It's really obvious, and there are many, many things I could introduce Björn by saying. I could say at the time, only the Rolling Stones, Elvis Presley and the Beatles had longer runs in the top 10 singles charts in Britain. I could say that Bono from U2 called ABBA one of the best pop groups ever. I could say they've sold over 350 million records, and I think they're still the second biggest selling band of all time, only beaten by the Beatles. And every day now, even, around about 3,500 ABBA records are bought every day around the world. And some of their best songs have taken off a life of their own in the musical Mamma Mia. But I won't say any of that. I'll just say, how are you, Björn?
Fine, thank you. You could have said that I once was a member of the Hootenanny Singers.
But I thought you'd have got up and walked out if I'd have said that. Because doesn't every interview start the way, did you not start in the Hootenanny Singers?
No, actually it doesn't.
That's a relief.
Yeah, that's really a relief. That's the most horrendous name any group ever had.
So then, tell us about the Hootenanny Singers.
But that began back in school, I think in 1963 or something like that.
It's all right, we don't want to know.
No, you don't want to know. You don't want to listen to that.
Mamma Mia is celebrating 5 years. And I thought it was longer.
Well,
it feels like it's been
only
longer.
5 years.
Yeah. But Catherine Johnson, who wrote the musical, pretty much.
The book, yeah.
Yeah. She was on the show at the time it opened, and I remember her being very nervous and being somebody who came to your songs quite late, I think.
Yes.
But looked at them lyrically first of all, as opposed to melodically. And a lot of people look at the success of it, and they must think, got easy, you got great songs, all you need to, even the flimsiest of storylines around it, and hey presto, wait for the money to roll in.
Well, that's not true, you see.
Not that easy.
No, it's not that easy. I mean, I saw a point as an experiment and a challenge when Catherine came on board, just to see whether it could be done. And actually, if I had seen that, no, I don't like this is going the wrong direction, I would have stopped it, I think. But Catherine is a genius, and she just listened to, there's about 95 to 100 songs in the ABBA catalogue. And those she could choose from. She didn't have to choose the hits if she didn't want to. And she listened to them over and over again, and read the lyrics over and over again.
It's weird.
And came out with a story. But I told her, I think in a musical, the story is number 1, 2, and 3. The absolutely most important element.
Because you had that with chess, didn't you? You and Benny did.
Yes, pretty weak story.
Still think One Night in Bangkok's a great record.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's a fantastic song.
And the album is fantastic as well.
Did you learn from that then, or did you just get a bit puzzled by it? Because some musicals run and run and run, and others don't, and it's an arrogant person that says, I know exactly what's going to be a hit and what isn't.
Oh, yeah, nobody knows that.
No.
But I think if you look at all great musicals, long-running musicals, possibly with the exception of Cats, they have a really good story.
So, go back and write some stories.
Yeah.
Did you ever know for real that any of your songs would be as massive as they were? I mean, forget the Hootenanny Singers, but I suppose, because 72 was your first hit in Sweden, wasn't it? I think People Need Love.
Yes.
And then 2 years later, Eurovision.
Yeah.
And then it just must have gone, wow.
It did indeed, yeah. And we never had a clue. I mean, we were very ambitious and very serious about our songwriting, Benny and me. But that it would take on such proportions, we never had any idea.
Because I remember there was definitely some showmanship. I'm going back to the 30s and the 40s when pop music came from the shows and from the stage.
Exactly.
By the time we're in the 50s and 60s and 70s, then pop music is there in its own right. But I remember Brighton in 74, and you guys who did the costumes? Who did it? Was that you?
Well, I guess partly we're to blame ourselves, but mostly there was a designer in Stockholm.
Right.
And we just wanted to look outrageous and different.
Well, the conductor came on dressed as Napoleon, didn't he? I remember that.
Yeah, he did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But even then, you had a story. I mean, Waterloo had a story, lyrically.
Kind of a little story, yeah. flimsy, but yes.
But you knew where you were going, and there are songs in your writing. You look at some of the early songs, and then you look at some of the later songs, and a lot of people have drawn the distinction between the more mature lyrics in some of the later songs, and the fact, of course, that they're sung by girls.
Yeah. Well, I've always written for girls since the Hootenanny Singers. I find it more interesting.
We better get the Hootenanny Singers back catalogue out one night.
Yeah.
Or something. Were you aware, though, that when you were writing songs in the studio, when you were getting the girls to sing them, and when you were mixing them and recording them and stuff, were you aware that that's going to be the next single? Were you writing like that, or were you just writing tracks?
We were writing as though every song would be a possible single. Treating them like that in the studio as well, up to when we had, we knew that this is the finished product. And then we chose from that, but we always treated every song as a single.
Can I fess up to something? When I was a kid,
yeah,
I had a little disco.
Mm-hmm.
And Waterloo was one of the first records we bought as a hit record that people would dance to in the church hall.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you how far dance music's come from there. And one of the other ones that took a lot of people by surprise, but this was a floor filler in the mid-1970s.
Okay.
It was the ABBA song, and it was called SOS. SOS. That was a floor filler in my little disco in Solihull in about 1975.
Okay, that's great.
And
that was really the song that, after Eurovision, Waterloo, we had things were not going the way we thought they would for about a year. People don't remember this, but we didn't have any hits after Waterloo, really, until SOS. So that was the one, because people seemed to think that we were not supposed to have any more hits, because you're a one-hit wonder if you win the Eurovision.
Yeah.
So
I
think DJs like you would have been, opposed to playing anything until SOS. So I'm deeply grateful to that song. And Pete Townsend told me once in New York, I think that's the best pop song ever written.
You picked that one?
Yes, he picked that one.
Because lots of people pick Mamma Mia, don't they? Or Dancing Queen.
Yeah.
It's a great record. Björn Ulvaeus is with us from ABBA tonight because we're celebrating 5 years of Mamma Mia. Somebody wrote the show that Benny and Björn never knew they had written.
That is absolutely true. Catherine told me that the reason why it works is that the songs within themselves are little stories. And I guess that's true when it comes to, looking at Knowing Me, Knowing You, Winner Takes It All, and others. And because I wrote from images, I used to listen to the backing track, and then something would come up, I would see something, and just describe that, more or less.
So it's pictures you were making?
Yes.
Because you were making it, if you think about it, you can buy any sound you like and plug it into a computer these days, but you made guitars sound different, you made keyboards and pianos sound different, and the girls' vocal harmonies had a sound that I don't think I've heard anyone else reproduce since.
Well, it's pretty much because they sound like that within themselves. The typical sound used to come when Frida, who's a mezzo, Agneta is a true soprano, and Frida used to strive to come up to Agneta's heights. That's when that metallic, unique sound came about.
I always thought Frida had the spikier voice. It sounded slightly sharp.
Yeah, she's sharper because she was always trying to, get up there.
Do you still get offers, you and Benny? Do you still get offers to go and write with people and do stuff?
Well, not so much anymore, because people have realized that we wouldn't do that, simply because I don't think that we could, write any really good pop songs anymore. It's you have to be pop yourself to do that, to have your ear to the ground all the time and know everything that's happening, and which we did during the 70s, and we had a great 8 to 10 year career within pop, and then we realized that we wanted to take one step ahead, and then it became theatre and musicals.
So you think you have to be pop to write pop songs?
I think so. I think you have to... I sort of felt that periods during the 70s, yes, we are it. You know, we are what they call pop.
Because you were writing for yourself, because you were performing your own songs. But is it different writing with other people in mind?
Well, if other people are going to produce it, definitely. Otherwise, you can write with other people in mind if you produce the record yourself.
Who's the guy who's at the moment in Sweden? Is Max? Is it Max Martin?
Max Martin, and he's got another 10 friends.
He's written songs for Blue and Britney.
Yeah,
and I think Christina.
Backstreet Boys.
And lots of
Oops, I Did It Again, and all of that
and
stuff.
he's got. I think it was like the 2-note riff on one of them. He said, "Yep, that'll work." And he's chucking out these 2-note riffs. Have you met him? Has he got your old records in his collection?
I have met him once, yeah, but we never had a chance to talk. But I guess these guys must have some kind of influence from us, because they grew up with ABBA music around them. But it's fantastic the way they work, and nobody knows who they are except producers around the world and stars around the world want their songs, but people in general don't know anything about them.
Well, Stockholm's getting pretty busy. People knocking on their door looking for songs.
Yeah.
Do you feel you've started a bit of a trend now with there's a Madness musical, the Queen musical, the Rod Stewart musical following on from Mamma Mia? I mean, where will it end? It could be
I do think it's a trend. A lot of people will look at their catalogs, thinking, can I do this? What I have here, is that enough for a musical or not?
Could do Deep
I think
Purple.
people at this, as we speak, are thinking about that.
I'm thinking Deep Purple could do Smoke on the Water, couldn't they?
Yeah,
Black Sabbath.
They might be.
Ozzy on stage.
The Eagles could do it.
Yeah. The Eagles could do it. Kraftwerk? No.
No, I don't think so.
That's pushing it a bit. And you must be personally chuffed that the most famous ABBA tribute act in the world is called Björn Again.
Yes, I find that very flattering.
Just Benny and Me or something.
Yes.
So what are you going to be celebrating?
I'm going to be celebrating 5 years of Mamma Mia and 30 years of ABBA. In a way, you can say it's 30 years because 6th of April 30 years ago was Brighton and Waterloo, which is pretty fantastic since it's just a fluke that Mamma Mia opened on the 6th of April. It was never planned. Although no one will believe me when I say that, but they do.
It's good to meet you again.
Good to meet you.
And 30 years, get out of here.
Yeah. I look fresh, don't I?
Indeed.